Send-off. We've got all the details right here on KTN Sunday Night. I am Anki Guta.
And I'm Eric Latif. Let's take a look at what's coming up in tonight's bulletin. Oro Jode laid to rest in his Unga farm in an emotional send-off.
I requested that we travel with him on this particular day, and he refused. I even insisted, and he said no.
Maria Jode recounts her husband's last days.
The world marks Father's Day as the Kenyan father struggles to cope.
Still on KTN Sunday Night, we focus on entrepreneur Jerry Dionge on money and power. Well, messages of cohesion and peaceful coexistence among Kenyans dominated the final send-off of former Internal Security Assistant Minister Joshua Oro Jode, who passed away last Sunday in a plane crash. Leaders from both sides of the coalition government took the opportunity to heap praise on the departed Mviwa MP, whom they eulogized as a uniting figure in an otherwise tumultuous political arrangement. Fred Omulo joins us now from Homa Bay County with the details.
In life, we have the peculiar trait of befriending one and all. Today, politicians put their differences aside and urge the country to emulate Joshua Orwa Ojode.
Kenyans, that there's something we better do if we want this Kenyan nation to be transformed. You know, we speak here as politicians, but as soon as we leave this place in memory of Ojode, we'll go back to our tribal cocoons like Moi was saying yesterday.
I can simply say he was the minister that never was. He was minister in every other way except that he didn't fly the flag.
As Shakespeare paraphrased will remind us, death comes when it will, but with such finality that we ordinary mortals are left in awe in its wake. So it is even this afternoon.
Speaker after speaker stressed the same message espoused by the fallen leader, a style of politics that he practiced over the last 2 decades.
Mheshimiwa Ojode na Mheshimiwa Saitoti walikuwa watu wapenda amani. Tukienda kwa kura, the only tribute we can pay to these two leaders ni kukemea siasa ya chuki, siasa ya matusi, siasa ya kutojali masilahi ya wengine
let us agree that we want to unite this country as one, and so that we remove the barrier that is there, which is called ethnic divide. Let us not see each other as Western Alliance, as Kamatusa, as Gema.
Why do we keep repeating the same words rather than acting on them and allowing those words to be our guide, to become our guide? That is definitely what would make a difference, is what would bring us together.
A mood of mirth also dominated proceedings as mourners enjoyed a light moment when speakers remembered Ojode's humorous side.
Orua told me, my friend, you've been my friend for a long time, but I want you, when you die, you should leave a will. Then I said, now how do you know, when do you know I'm going to die? He said, you know, you are 15 years older than me, and all remaining constant, I think you are going to go before me. So I told him, Bwana, you cannot be sure with life. But then the will that he wanted me to write for him was that when I die, I should leave a will that he can inherit my wives.
Despite the serious tone, politics still took center stage, with the president sending a strong message to those in the succession race.
I am a member of parliament, and until the end of that time, which is coming at the end of this year, so that each one of you who would like to stand in Othaya, please come at the new year.
The late assistant minister played a key role in bringing about the merger between KANU and NDP in 2002. Subsequently, he strived to calm tensions in the first Kibaki administration and continued with the same trend after the formation of the Grand Coalition government in 2008.
A tireless worker, committed public servant, a loving husband, humorous friend. Those are just some of the adjectives that were used to describe the fallen giant, Joshua Orwa Ojode, former assistant minister. He has now been laid to rest. Fare thee well. From Homa Bay County, I am Fredo Mulo.
Mary Ojode, the widow to the late Internal Security Assistant Minister, gave a moving tribute at her late husband's burial today. She shared her last moments with him and the close-knit friendship they had developed over the years. Andrew Ojode also recounted how his father, Oro Ojode, the man who Kenyans knew for his forthrightness, was fun to be with. KTN's Edith Kimani takes a look at the glowing tributes given by those who knew the late Assistant Minister, Oro Ojode, best.
Mary Ojode, the widow of the late Internal Security Assistant Minister, and her son Andrew Ojode sat side by side at the funeral service of a man they knew best. And when Andrew was called up to eulogize his father, his strong opinion of his late father left no doubt in Kenyans' minds that the late Ojode was a kind and resolute man described by many.
He performed his duties so diligently that it was not easy to pick his party affiliation, always insisting that matters of security should neither be trivialized nor politicized. He valued his constituents so much that he could visit his constituency every 1 week or two.
Andrew, who is scheduled to graduate this July with a bachelor's degree in business from a British university, recounted other plans that his father had made, including a memorial service for his grandfather, Ojode's father, which he did not live to see.
From the factory to road projects, university prospects, to schools and churches constructions, school fees to job opportunities, his input will be felt by many generations to come.
The late Ojode's wife, Mary, shared the last moments she had with her late husband. Mary told mourners how she had wanted to travel with the late assistant minister on the morning of the fateful crash, and how the late Ojode, despite his wife's insistence, had declined her request.
In fact, he had taken his briefcase. On second thought, he put it down, removed the money, put it in his pocket, and left the house. It didn't take 1 hour and somebody called me and asked if my husband had traveled on a journey that Professor Saitoti was supposed to accompany him, and I replied to the affirmative.
Ojode's wife then went on to say how just minutes later she was called and told her husband had perished in an ill-fated helicopter crash. On a day that had been set aside to remember Oro Ojode's father, the late assistant minister was laid to rest, leaving behind a wife and a son who shared with Kenyans a strong lesson they have drawn from this painful ordeal.
Before my father died, the morning I was leaving, my mom informed me that he told her that I'll be back at 2 p.m. With that said, I ask all of you to watch where your lives are heading and ask yourself if you're right with God, because even as we leave this place, you're not sure whether you reach home.
As my son is saying, let's think. Sometimes we think that we have tomorrow, but I want us to know that the only day we have is today. So let's appreciate life and think over it and realize that we may make our plans, but God has the last say.
Edith Kimani, KTN, Sunday Night.
The late Joshua Oro Ojode, as you've heard, was laid to rest in a befitting send-off in his Unga Farm Thiwa constituency, where his constituents came in hordes to bid farewell to a leader whom they described as committed and development-driven. KTN's Betty Kialo reports.
As early as 7 a.m., mourners had started gathering at the Unga farm in Thiwa constituency to bid farewell to a man who was their voice in government since 1997. But despite the somber mood, security forces were vigil, with every mourner going through security checks. Leaders and other dignitaries streamed in, ready to be part of a day that will definitely go down history books. With all set for the day, President Mwai Kibaki arrived alongside other senior government officials. And then, the late Ojode's wife, Mary Ojode, their son, Andy Ojode, with the late assistant minister's colleagues proceeded to the grounds where the 5-hour-long funeral service took place. However, as family and friends of the late paid their glowing tributes, fracas ensued outside the tented grounds, which had been occupied by family, friends and government officials. Mourners who had thronged the area became unruly, trying to get a better glimpse of the funeral proceedings. Attempts by local administration officers to calm the crowd were not as successful.
Tafadhali waombolezaji, tafadhali, tafadhali, tafadhali na nenekea. Mahali huko kaa na heshima.
And it took the efforts of leaders from the area to bring calm. As the service went on, food preparations on the other side of the grounds gathered momentum. A feast prepared to celebrate the life of the late Ojode, who was evidently loved by his constituents. But after all was said and done, the late Joshua Oro Ojode, who was a son, husband, father and leader, was laid to rest in a solemn gathering of close family, friends and colleagues who assembled at his home. For KTN Sunday Night, I'm Betty Kialo.
Rest in peace, Joshua Oro Ojode. Father's Day, a day set aside globally to celebrate fathers, has remained one of the most under-celebrated days, despite the role played by fathers in the society. KTN's Angel Katusia met one father in Kibera Slum who has single-handedly raised his 2 children since his wife died in 2009. Today he celebrates seeing his children grow healthy and happy.
I'm a proud father, sababu mtoto yuko hai. From hizo masiku alikuwa katika hizo za hatari. Wakati unaona sasa from infant to childhood now. I'm proud of that. I can even celebrate myself.
The events of the year 2009 are fresh in Alfred Odhiambo's mind. Events that changed his life.
Shida ilitokea mama kujifungua na kuaga dunia. Na ilikuwa mwaka wa 2009. Na baada ya kumzika, I came back with all my children, and from there nikaanza kuwa single parent, and I used to pray God and guide katika mambo yoyote.
Odhiambo's wife passed away 3 days after delivering the second born, Marion, after developing birth-related complications.
I was near to even to commit, sababu sijai kulea mtoto, hiyo kilua mtoto kufumilia na kufua manguo, sasa kurudi kuwa mama. Hata leo unavyoniona nimevaa longi, lakini mimi ni mama tayari. Sababu hata sasa unaona nafua, napikia watoto. Si rahisi mwanaume kulea mtoto. It is not easy with a man.
Odhiambo did not have anyone who could aid in bringing up his children. Being an orphan, he had to take the task. Marion, 3 days old, and Tony, a year old. Today, Odhiambo is a happy dad. A tough journey it has been, but one he says was worth. The bond between the dad and his kids, evidence of efforts put to overcome the past. Marion is 3 years now, and Tony is 4.
Najivunia sababu mimi pia sikuwa na mother's weapon ambayo inaitwa matiti, lakini Mungu ameniguide, nimeifanya kama mama. Mimi nilijitia mkazo, nikasema liwalo leo nataka kulea mtoto. Hata leo najivunia sababu sijawahi kutenda, lakini mimi ni mmoja kati ya wale wamelea.
It is a journey that saw him become a laughingstock in the society. Many humiliated him. But his goal was to see his 2 children grow happily even after their mother's demise. For Marion and Tony, their dad is their father, their mother, and above all, their friend. A dad who has now to do all he has to do to put food on their table.
Sahi nashona viatu sehemu ya Lang'ata, sababu nina hiyo ujuzi pia kushona viatu.
The world marks the World Father's Day, and with the modern day father running away from what many may consider as duties and roles of an ideal father, Odhiambo says,
jukumu ya mwanaume katika ndoa inastahili msaidiane, sababu labda leo kama mimi najua kupanguza nyumba, najua kupanga watoto, hata kama saa hii nataka niende safari, najua ni lipi na nini nabeba katika handbag yangu ninaposafiri.
Alfred Odhiambo is a proud father, and today is celebrating himself. For KTN Sunday Night, I'm Angel Katusia.
In our news from around the country, police launch investigations into a grisly murder in Murang'a, while the Kenya Forest Service are out to save the environment.
A body of a woman believed to have been murdered in cold blood was found in her house at Kaga village, Murang'a County. A close friend to the deceased told the press that unknown people called the neighbor and informed her that they had killed the woman. Police have since launched investigations into the incident. And at the coast, the Sharif Nasir Foundation chairman, Abdul Nasir, has asked politicians to shun divisive politics and instead focus on selling their development ideals to the public.
The main sponsors wakiwemo ni Hassan Joho Foundation wakishirikiana na sisi, tukaweza kusema kwa tulifanya jambo kama hili. Huyu mtu kiasi ya mwaka iliyopita aliambiwa kwa yeye ni mlanguzi wa madawa ya kulevya. Leo sasa hivi serikali ya Amerika ilisema kwa wale ambao kwamba wenye kuuza madawa ya kulevya hatuwakubali waende kwetu. Hii leo Hassan hayuko na sisi hapa kwa sababu yuko katika nchi ya Amerika kurepresent serikali ya Kenya.
In Elgeyo Marakwet County, Kenya Forest Service has donated 68 bulls to the Sengwer communities in a community-involved initiative to conserve the Embobut forest. Forest officials say the donations distract community members from destroying the forest by offering means of earning income. The initiative, partly funded by the World Bank, will see locals receive livestock and tree seedlings. Finally, former Transport Licensing Board Chairman Hassan Ole Kamaro has asked the government to review penalties in the Traffic Amendment Bill. Terming the bill too harsh for members of the public, Kamaro suggested a maximum 10-year jail term and the removal of the 1.5 million shilling fine. He was speaking at a church in Nairobi after being awarded an honorary doctorate degree.
Tonight on our motoring segment, Auto World, KTN's Betty Kello takes a look at a car that has simply been misunderstood. Or has it? A car that, despite the fact that it comes in big numbers in this country, it still has very many people wondering what exactly it was made for. Well, here is Auto World up next.
Engine capacity 1500 cc. This car was produced in the year 2002, weighing 1,110 kilograms. This 5-door wagon comes in manual and automatic. Top speed 180 kilometers per hour. Surprisingly, it has become common on our Kenyan roads. With an interior from the 1990s, the dash is simple: a radio, a speedo, a fuel gauge, and of course, a steering wheel. See, this car was manufactured for the Japanese market, specially designed for commercial use as a delivery vehicle. In Kenya, this car is extensively used as a taxi, delivery car, and public service vehicle. Now, what happens in some parts of Kenya, I won't mention names, is that the driver actually folds this rear seat, creating more space. And then what actually happens is that they put stools all over the car where so many people can actually sit. I'm talking about 15 people on a bad day of business. Introducing the Toyota Probox. The Probox was not designed for luxury or as your standard car. It was introduced in the market as a commercial vehicle. However, people have misunderstood and criticized it because of its basic nature.
I use it from here to Meru, carrying goods and back. Consumption is good, so it cannot let you down.
In a week, roughly, I can talk of 4 pieces at least. When things are okay, roughly 7 or even 10, you know.
He says that most of the people who frequent the car yard are business people, companies that use this specific car to ferry goods or stuff. However, sometimes he also gets some people to whom owning the Probox is a dream come true. One of the alluring attributes making this car's demand high is that the fuel consumption is not bad. Most of them come with an engine capacity of 1500 cc, making them somewhat affordable. However, the car's interior and exterior are nothing fancy. If you take a look at the dash, there are no gizmos that make the drivability of the car better, just basic.
Actually, it's not a comfortable car, not at all, but you'll find some bit of it with some comfort in it.
The Probox is actually known as a small pickup. Actually, Shafi tells me that because of its non-stylish or non-attractive design, the Probox is only manufactured in white and silver color schemes, which make it even cheaper to maintain. Despite being a practical, simple vehicle, other owners have taken the ride to another level, pimping them up to just make them look better by adding body kits, rims, low-profile tires, just to name a few, and the afterlook actually looks much better. Verdict: the misunderstood Probox is designed as a practical car, business-oriented, nothing luxurious. For Auto World, my name is Betty Kialo.
The Probox can be souped up.
Souped up or not, it's still a Probox. I think what Betty Kelly should do next week is profile the Probox driver.
Oh, I know.
And why they behave so badly on the road.
No, never mind, Eric. Drive the Probox with pride. We're going to take a break on KTN Sunday night when we return.
Well, we'll be giving you the story of Njeri Yonge on Money and Power.
Insurance, investment management, property investment, and financial advisory. UAP, better, simple life. And now, introducing another one from Home of Quality. Triple distilled Crescent Vodka, now available. Keroche Breweries Limited, leaders in quality, the home of quality. Truly Kenyan.
The Kabarak University Half Marathon will be held on 30th June 2012 in Mogotio Town. The race begins from 6 a.m. at the Equator and finishes at the Kabarak University grounds. Registration is 300 shillings for the 21-kilometer half marathon, 1,000 shillings for the 5-kilometer corporate race, and 100 shillings for the children's race. You can register at all Transnational Bank branches, Mobile World offices, and CAS offices North Rift. Registration closes on 25th June. There are great cash prizes and heifers to be won. Proceeds from the marathon will help support Ngata Baby Care for abandoned children. Kabarak University, world-class education in biblical perspective.
Come guys, night is the perfect time to spread malaria. All clear!
The majority of malaria bites occur at night when the effect of ordinary repellents wears off.
Not in my house.
Morphine Doom liquid mosquito repellent with its deep reach action knocks down tough mosquitoes and drives them from their hiding, giving you continuous protection for 60 nights from mosquitoes that spread malaria. Night after night after night. Now get a free refill with each complete pack. strength and wisdom beyond borders.
Years now, Old Mutual has helped people invest to secure their future. With this experience comes much wisdom. Wisdom to enable you to do great things.
The best things come from nature. That's why I trust nature to take care of me, though germs can get in the way. That's why I love the gentle care and goodness that nature provides. New Dettol Natural with Dettol's trusted protection plus calendula and chamomile extracts gives me naturally healthy looking skin. Nature's goodness with trusted Dettol protection. New Dettol Natural. Endorsed by the Kenyan Medical Association. Dettol. Be 100% sure.
In Crazy Monday Pullout, why men are stealing women's phones on the first date instead of hearts. This and more crazy and weird stories. Available in your copy of The Standard every Monday.
Welcome back. You're watching KTN Sunday Night Live.
Time for Money and Power, and she co-founded East Africa's leading cable, broadband and phone company, Wananchi Online, and that company has raised close to $60 million from private equity. She has also founded Ignite Consulting, Business Lounge, which is a startup incubator, and Insight, a digital marketing outfit. On KTN's Money and Power tonight, we bring to you Njeri Rionge as she recounts the journey to building her business empire.
Describes herself as a serial entrepreneur, defining success as the ability to build and take emerging business ventures off the ground.
I am actually very passionate about people, passionate about development, growth, and business. I think when I wake up every day, when I look at things, look at people, when I do what I do, I'm constantly always rethinking and re-engineering thought around business. How can something be done better or differently? But particularly in the areas that I'm good at. So I won't touch anything that I know nothing about.
It is perhaps her clarity of thought in the tasks she undertakes that sets her apart as an enviable business leader, credited for setting up the first local internet service provider in 1999 at a time when little was known about the internet, let alone online business.
There's a trader and then there's a business person. Okay. And those two are very different. When you're trading, you're always focusing on how much money can I make now, how many of my goods can I sell, and basically go back and buy more goods and continue to sell. So you're making money in that curve, and you're probably not doing anything about developing the infrastructure or building systems within that business.
Njeri's journey started as a hairdresser with a clientele consisting largely of high net worth individuals.
My simplest business, which is a salon. My salon piggybacks on making sure that the cash, the tax, the staff commissions, i.e. the aspects of operations, all that is being ran by a software on a computer. So today, if I walk into the salon and I want to know, out of the 7 hairdressers and the beauticians, how much work they've done for the week, I basically walk in, put the machine on, do a little bit of tapping of the screen, and voila, a printout is out, and I know exactly how they're doing.
Despite the humble beginnings, Njeri attributes success in the many things she has done to strong grounding she got from her parents and other caregivers.
My grandmother. The grandmother is a staunch Christian. From as far back as when I was basically a child, maybe 3, 4, 5 years old, she was constantly talking to us about God. If we went to stay with my grandmother for the holidays, we were guaranteed 2 things. That would wake up, would do the things that we need to do in terms of the chores, and then would break away for about an hour for prayer. Most people will ask, why are you doing so many things? How can you even do so many things? How is it that on the one hand you're doing hairdressing, on another hand you're in IT, and then how is it that you're able to do that? Well, actually, for me, it can only be God.
The brightest feather on Jerry's cap remains to be the Wananchi Online, an internet service providing outfit she co-founded in 1999 that boasts of a growth capital in the neighborhood of $60 million, driven by the need to have more Kenyans on the net.
How did we get to the Wananchi story? We got to the Wananchi story because we started off in industry. We worked for 2 other ISPs, and we were employees. And before setting up Wananchi, we had identified, in fact, that internet connectivity was something that masses had to actually have access to the internet. So we traveled. In fact, it's a time when we drove to Busia, and that's when we were shocked to find Mama Bogas in Busia at the border on mobile phones, because Kenya didn't have mobile phones at the time. And so we're thinking to ourselves, oh my God, people are actually on mobile telephony out here in the villages, so to speak. And we're yet to see that happening in Nairobi. So that was an interesting experience. But we traveled the country talking to people to find out what their mode of communication was, and if they had even heard about the internet. And we realized that even though they had not heard about the internet, and those who had heard about the internet, they really needed to have access to the internet because they thought that it would be an easier way of communicating. And a lot of people have family all over the place, so it was a very welcomed product or service, because it did take a while for the banks in Kenya to actually start transacting online, although they are now. By the time I was coming up with all these ideas, they were not at the level that I was anticipating that they should be. Exactly.
With an inimitable appetite for startups, Jerry was looking for another challenge after Wananchi Online developed a life of its own. Her next stop was Ignite Consulting.
Ignite Consulting and Insight, and Jerry Yonge Business Consulting Inc. So these 2 are Nairobi businesses. Jerry Yonge Business Consulting Inc. is a Toronto office, and the Toronto office is really supposed to create capacity for investment liaison.
Other than sitting on various boards for the past 10 years, Jerry's other documented business interests include Business Launch, a popular startup incubator, Ignite Lifestyle, a healthcare consultancy, and Insight, a regional digital marketing outfit. She also shuttles between Nairobi and Toronto, Canada, where she runs the Jerry Yonge Incorporated. Jerry Yonge's name is synonymous with technology. Just when did she fall in love with technology?
The very first experience I had with anything IT was a computer at a friend's office out at Gill House, actually, I think on the 2nd floor, if I remember, back in the 80s. And he had come back from Cornell University with a lot of computers, and he wanted to set up some kind of college, or his brother was already setting up a college out in that part of town. And I was called in as part of the friends who were unpacking and putting the computers on tables. And I opened my first box, I set up my machine, I actually plugged it onto power, I made it work, it came on, and I did all that with no one's instruction. I didn't even read the manual. And then I realized that there was something about this thing, this machine, the computer at the time, that I was attracted to. And so over time, I gravitated to those things.
With a vast experience in setting up various organizational structures, Jerry sees the lack of strong work ethics as an urgent need for the Kenyan marketplace, as many organizations do not have room for self-evaluation. A self-taught Jerry is quick to acknowledge the value of education in her entrepreneurial ventures.
I went to good schools. I went to Westlands Primary School. I went to Hospital Hill High. I came out of there. I went to college. I came out of college. And I actually didn't go all the way, but I've been learning by identifying a skill gap and then getting the course for the skill gap. Yes. And today you can learn a lot of things from webinars. You can go online. You can even go to major universities and study a whole host of different programs, training programs. So that's really what I do.
So it has been mostly
and it's self-education, and it's continuous. Yeah.
What do you see as a role of education in the success of, say, any kind of business?
Education is important. I think we can never discount education. I think it's the quality of education that one has to adhere to. You need to know not just the quality of the education, but what areas do you want education for?
When the question of work-life balance arises, Jerry admits that while she may get carried away by the many things she needs to get done, her husband and 11-year-old daughter help her keep her sanity.
Oh, trust me, I'm definitely better now than I was in the beginning. I still could do better. I think the biggest support factor that I have is that I have a very supporting husband, very supporting daughter. In fact, she is really everything that I need in a child, bless her soul, because she's 11, and she will tell me exactly what she's thinking. And if I actually ask her why she's being so hard on me, she says, well, I was taught by the best, and guess the best would be me.
And for relaxation, she says solitude tops the list. For one who has drawn a lot of values from her family, I asked Jerry about her favorite childhood memories, and her face lightens up.
I'm very happy about the fact that actually as an obedient child, I'm happy that I was that.
Only your parents can attest to that.
but you know what? I know that they will. And in fact, I had a Thanksgiving function 2 years ago, and my Bishop Jengo actually asked my father in front of many people who are here, does she do what she's supposed to do as a firstborn child? My dad was quick to answer that question. So I know that I had an opportunity to be someone else when I was younger, but I made choices when I was younger that make me very happy today.
A self-proclaimed positive thinker, Jerry says she has no regrets at how she has lived her life, as she remains focused on managing the pain factors in her life and family, and always looking at the bright side of life. Jerry holds that success to her is defined by increasing value and not simply financial rewards. So how would this serial entrepreneur like to be remembered?
If I can be remembered as someone who says and they do, that's a good thing. Yeah. Anasema, anatenda. That's it.
Now, in the African business circles, few entrepreneurs shine brighter than Jerry Rionge. That's how Forbes magazine describes her. Well, for her, passion and dedication remain her most contagious of traits. For KTN Money and Power, I'm Boni Tunya in Nairobi.
Sometimes we think that we have tomorrow, but I want us to know that the only day we have is today. So let's appreciate life and think over it.
It is okay for them to use contraceptives because to avoid early pregnancies, to avoid diseases like STIs and STDs.
I think it's not okay because there are many side effects. So both need to understand first what they are all about and their side effects.
I think it's fine as long as you are more understanding, and religious understanding of dating allows you to. It's okay if if you engage in sex before marriage. It's okay if you use the contraceptive so that you can avoid unplanned events.
Grosty-Hoff Merlot. Merlot is a red wine with medium to full body and herbaceous flavors. Merlot is typically softer in taste than Cabernet Sauvignon. Swirling Horatio wine flavors and aromas include blackberry, baked cherries, plums, chocolate, and mocha. This varietal goes well with pastas and red meat dishes. Drostihof. Every year is a good year.
In Crazy Monday Pullout, why men are stealing women's phones on the first date instead of hearts. This and more crazy and weird stories available in your copy of The Standard every Monday.
Welcome to the sport. We start with sad news where Togo has ended Kenya's hope of qualifying for the 2013 African Cup of Nations in South Africa with a 1-0 defeat in Lome late this evening. Kenya, which carried a 2-1 lead from the first leg, held the home team until the 59th minute when the home team got the only goal of the match to qualify on the away goal rule. The Hawks had scored a goal in Nairobi back in February during the first leg.
Starting Dennis Oliech2 did score. He's got a goal against the Sparrow Hawks. Another shot towards goal. It's in the net.